Welcome to Timber&Terra. I'm Glenn, and we are here on what I call the low road, which is all the way down that way along a small little stream or a swampy low area, hence the name low road, where this road is seldom frozen like it is this year. I haven't been able to access down here in the wintertime because it just never froze. This year's been really good. I've done a fair amount of work. There's been several videos of me working down here, and this will be the last one. Not because the road conditions are deteriorating, but because I'm really done all that I need to do down here. So where we are on the low road is the tractor is actually sort of up on the higher ground, sort of the level of, similar level as all that other land up there. We're down here and it goes down a bit further heading that way. So sort of on the edge of it, and I stopped here because there's some firewood that I'm going to take down, not because I need the firewood so much, but really just to free up some cedar, some nice cedar that are growing here in the understory. I could probably access these from up there almost any time, but since I don't have that much more to do, I'm not under the gun, I might as well do it now. So what I have here, I have two poplars, that one, a slightly bigger one here, a smaller one there, and a couple black cherries. And I think I'll take them both down, not because I don't like black cherries, but they're not the straightest. That one, you can see lots of wiggles up there. It has quite a crook in it. Same with the one back there. And all around them are these small white cedar trees. There, a clump there, a couple there. Nice one there. So I might as well take those down. You can see these poplar, they spread pretty large canopies, pretty large crowns. So that should give these cedar a lot more light. So let's just take these down. I think the only clean way to get them down is to lay them down as close as I can to the road and try to avoid hitting that cedar. The other thing with these popples and the large crowns is when they come down, they take a little bit of a wide swath and can do some damage. So we'll try to minimize that. So basically it'll be sort of the domino effect. I'll take the ones closest to the direction I'm falling first, and then the other ones hopefully fall right behind it. So if we take a look at this one, there's not much of a gap here. I'm hoping that cedar is close enough where the branches that are low down here that'll likely hit it are small. So I'll probably try to hug this side just a little bit, because if it hits that fir just on the other side of the road, that'll be further up in the crown, and that'll likely could either decapitate it or just really shave off a lot of the branches. Well, I'm happy with that one. See a couple small branches up there got caught in the cedar, but really couldn't have gone in a better spot, so thankful for that. So like I do all of them, when I down a tree like this, where I'm going to pile others on top instead of cutting them all at once and then having a bunch of brush to climb over, I'm going to clean this one up, cut it to log lengths, which will be 16 feet from my firewood, and then we'll tackle the next one. So with that one cleaned up, my plan now is to drop this one in the same direction. This is a larger, taller tree. I'm actually going to favor it to the left, so if my plan goes right, this will fall just to the left of that. If I'm going to sacrifice a tree, it's going to be that fir rather than the cedar. Well, that really was just a stroke of luck. A couple of the taller branches slid down the tree. You can probably see the bark on this tree was scraped up a bit. But that's fine, and the other good thing is a good part of the crown is off the road, so I don't have to worry about cleaning it up. All right, same thing. I'll clean this up, mark it. The other one we had 3 logs, so that's 48 feet. Well, that's one reason you want to get out of the way when it starts to fall, is that kick back that way. So if I just stood back behind it, it would not have been fun. So I meant to aim this one a bit to the right, but I missed. But there's really no damage to that fir tree. That's what caused it to spring back. You can see the sort of wedged along it and springed it backwards. That's fine. I'll cut this up. The other ones I have are real small, a black cherry there and a black cherry there. I won't even film that. So we'll get those all ready, get them all cut up, then I'll get ready to drag them out. Well, I have these 5 trees all chained up now. The 2 black cherry only had one 16-foot firewood log each. Well, that twitch, or that hitch, whatever you want to call it, was at the limit of my tractor. The 3-point hitch really couldn't lift the winch up as much as normally does. I spun a little bit with the chains, but worked out well. I knew I could not make it into the field, which is where I would have liked to have gone. You can see perhaps basically that height in snow is the depth. It's probably at least 3 feet deep there. Even without logs on it, I'm not going to be able to make it through with the tractor. It'll get hung up, so I just go through the woods there and out a different path back to my house. So it's getting dark here. It's off the road enough where it's not going to be in the way. But we'll continue this project and finish that low road up shortly. Well, here we are, less than a week after we took these trees down. Big change in the landscape here. You can see the treetops over there. Stump there, and that one back there are the ones that we took down. So we've had several days of warm weather, like in the 50s, close to 60 maybe. A little bit of rain last night, and we have a lot of water running. Some areas of the state I think might have some minor flooding. We do have some in one particular river up this way in northern Vermont, but none right around here in the local area. So I thought I'd just do a quick review of some of the areas that we've been working on, just to show you how close the stream was and what things look like. Some of the logs that I had set aside, which had been buried in the snow, have now uncovered themselves, such as these. So this is the site of those buried large fir that I took out just the butt log of, I think a video or 2 ago. And some cedar. You can see the cedar there that I was able to save. But you can see how close the water is. We're basically maybe inches above the brook height right here. You can see the water running there at the base of that sizable red spruce. So, taking a look at this mess, now that we can probably see a little bit better, this is that large cedar that was frozen to the ground. Looks like it's not frozen anymore, though some of the branches might be. But it's one that the wood looks sound, but it's been dead for at least a year or 2, so I chose not to try to salvage it. Oh gosh. That went above my boots. Oh, my foot's wet. This is the big fir. There's more of the water running sort of right under us, I guess. See the water there. I'd like to make my way over there. Oh, see if I can get my other foot wet. So this is that fir. It had some discoloration, but I think the wood is still sound. And this was all covered with snow. So I could probably cut enough of the branches off now towards the bottom where I could probably take it out that way. So let's go look at the top end. This is the top end of that same tree. This is some cedar that I took from over there. So this is an area that did a lot of work, provided a lot of deer food. Although it doesn't look like it's all been eaten up. They have visited the area a couple times. So this was, I guess this explains things better. So this was a double top. It looks like one of them was buried deeper in the snow and the ice. This is the one that broke off as I was pulling it. And it just broke off where the fork was in the stem. So the real stem, salvageable stem, begins right about there. Goes that way. So when I make it down here again, which won't be today, supposed to get some more rain this afternoon, rain or snow. But I'll be out here in the next few days. Hopefully grab that. And I have some other products to get basically just off the road down here further. I'm done dragging stuff off too far from the road because of the conditions, particularly that way. So we'll meet up again when I'm actually cutting something down. Well, we are back down here. This is actually the next day after I filmed the significant transformation after the warm weather and rain. So I have just a handful of trees, maybe 2 or 3 to get out if there's anything salvageable, and this is one of them. Bit of a leaner. Looks like there might be a decent small log or 2 in there. You can see this is a logging scar. When I had the commercial cut done, this is 12, maybe 14 years ago, he did not have this road. I put this road in. He accessed everything down there from up there, which is a road just over the knoll. I don't know if he backed down here. I almost think these might be cable marks from his cable, not so much his chains, tire chains, but who knows. Anyhow, so that tree is really, there's not a lot of value in leaving it. Provides a little bit of shade to a better red spruce over there. So in fact, from here I can see this other one has a similar logging scar right there. But that tree looks a bit healthier. It's straight up. It's really not blocking anything else. So I'll leave that one. Take this one here, where to drop it. It's a case where I think I will drop it. I think I'll drop it that way. It may make it all the way to the ground. It may take out this small fir. In fact, maybe I'll take this fir down ahead of time and make that into some poles from my corduroy road. And then I should be able to drop it in that opening there without much problem. Well, to my surprise and amazement, I actually had 2 saw logs. This one's a real nice one. It might be 6-7 inches in diameter. This one is sort of 5.5, right at the minimum. Got the slightest of a little crook there, but I don't think it's too much. So I'll trim the top of that, so I'll end up with 2 12-foot poles for my corduroy road. So now we can drop this leaner. So I cut 2 saw logs out of this. I was trying to get the top out here as much as I could because that was a little bit of a bear to walk in to finish limbing, but I think my 32-foot mark is basically where you see the end of the chainsaw marks. Probably get one more 12-footer for a pole, and we'll drag these 3 pieces out together, and then once we're up in the field I'll cut this one in half with the 2 16-foot saw logs. Perhaps you noticed when I was sawing this down, but there's the electric fence, little ceramic knob there, or maybe it's knob and tube wiring. So that was one of the reasons I cut the stump up high, because I don't know what other hardware might be down here. In fact, I guess there could have been hardware up here too. But the other thing is I knew it was going to be rotten, so there's no sense making the effort to go way down there. And I did have to sacrifice probably 6 feet or so before that little bit of rot there on one edge cleared up. So next is this stubborn one that did not want to come out. So there was a double top there. I hooked onto one of them not knowing there was another one buried. Broke it off and it's there, right there. So what I'll do now is I'll limb this now that it's not covered with snow, see what we have available, measure out a log, maybe 2. We did take the butt log, if you remember from a video or 2 ago, took it out that way. Assuming after it's all limbed I'll be able to take it out this way, hopefully get it over all this crap and onto the back of the tractor. Well, I cleaned up a lot of junk, and that does provide a lot more clarity to things. It's still a really nice log up to here. So this here I measured out two logs, so 16.5 feet each, so it's a total stem of 33 feet. I did cut a lot of branches that were frozen in. There was a section here, as well as right there. I took that section out to look at what the end looked like and to place to get the cable around the end. And down there it was frozen in more to the stem instead of just the branches. So I'm thinking it's going to be free now. What I think I'll try to do is slide it out that little area between some white spruce and that bunch of old stumps. Snake it through there. That'll pull it a bit of an angle, hopefully enough to free it up. If I was to pull it straight, one is I have a mesh there that it's going to get hung up in. And I think I'm less likely to break it free if it's still attached somehow, pulling it out straight, than I am at a little bit of an angle. Well, you get to see the results. Well, it appears as though it's still frozen in quite solidly right here. So plan B is just to rehinch and pull it that way 90 degrees to free it up. Well, the road is sort of holding up, but boy, I fall into one of these puddles and it's a little bit of a jar. Yeah, the ice is still probably 4 inches thick in most spots, but wherever there's water running down through it, it sort of opens up underneath, hollows it out. If I have a chance this summer, if conditions allow, what I'll probably do is maybe put a drainage pipe across these areas where it likes to flow, and then maybe cover it with some crushed rock or something like that. So it's more likely to freeze up in future winters, so I'm not relying on super cold winters like this to make a go of it. Alright, well, I'll deliver this up into the field and we'll tackle what I think might be the last tree down here. The next one to come down is this big white spruce. Well, bigger. It's not a huge tree, but it's sizable, at least for my property. And only because the top is looking sparse, not nearly as healthy as, say, a spruce like over there. And it's a white spruce, and my experience with these of this age on this property is that they really slow down and grow significantly. So I might as well get rid of that. It's not growing much, and then allow more light for these two-seater that are trying to grow around it. So I do have the notch cut. I'm going to fell it that way. It's leaning a little bit that direction. So I'm going to have to use some wedges to get it to fall where I want it to. Actually wasn't nearly as hard as I thought it was going to be. So looking at this, yeah, during its middle ages, actually really since it was a youngster, it grew decently, not as fast as I've seen a lot of the other white spruce, but here these growth rings are probably no more than 1/16 of an inch wide, maybe 1/8. So nice, good, sound wood. It's just sort of at its end of life, or at least at its end of productive growth life. So I did pick up a log on the way as I came back down here after delivering those up there in the field. That was just off the side of the road that I had forgotten about. So I think I'll roll that off to the side again, come back here, drag this out. It's not as bad there to limb, so maybe I'll limit where it is, and probably could just leave that attached. So we'll see. Well, I ended up with 2 really good logs. The third log has the diameter, it has the length, but a couple things. One is relative to the diameter of the stem, the branches are getting pretty large in diameter and numerous. But the other thing is it had a lot of crooks. It wasn't nearly as straight looking at it up close as it looked when it was up there. So what I'd like to do is not have to move my tractor. If I need to, I will. But I cut the stump there. Hopefully this will slide free, and that stump will provide protection for the cedar, which is one of the reasons I wanted to sort of release the area from the shade this was casting. Let's see if that works out. Well, that will end it for cleanup along the low road. I have several other saw logs that I plan to cut here before spring gets too far. These are some of the pasture spruce I cut for the 10-foot logs. But for now, that'll do it. I appreciate you watching. I hope you stay tuned for future videos. Thanks, appreciate it. Take two. But that'll do it for this one. I appreciate you watching. Hope you stay tuned for future videos. I appreciate it.